Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome back to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Zach,
And I'm Pepper.
and today we're back with another episode of Take My Money, where we're going to look at many Kickstarters and a game found project relating to board games and kind of just give our thoughts on them. We look at them a little bit, don't necessarily look at them a ton and know every little detail about them, but we'll let you know if we think they look interesting to us. And let us know in the comments below what you're currently backing, if you're backing anything, if you're waiting for something to deliver. I know I've got several that I think are going to deliver here over the next month or two. It seems like they're all kind of
Yep.
coming now after the what is it, Chinese New Year
Yep.
time, it seems like. So hopefully those will come, and I look forward to trying those ones out.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll get right into it. Kind of where we left off with the last one of these that we did. There was
Yes.
one called Dante's Inferno, I believe. That
Yep.
one was a shorter campaign. This one actually released, I think, the same day, but it was a longer campaign. And that is Inferno Deluxe Edition.
Yes. But yeah, this is also got the Dante kind of tie-in here, so it's interesting. Gonna be confusing, probably. I don't know how popular that one was. I forget how much backing that had, but I
I think it
wonder
was
if
doing
these.
pretty well.
So I wonder how well received they both will be, if there's going to be competition or confusion. I'm sure there will be confusion for me, because you just saw, I've already forgotten a lot about that one. So
Yeah, I think they were a good amount different than each other,
yeah,
so
yeah,
I think that'll at least differentiate them. But I'm guessing at the time when people were looking to maybe back one, if they kind of knew the name, they could have accidentally stumbled upon the other one, possibly. But yeah, this one was probably the one I was more interested in of the two,
yeah,
just because this has more of a Euro game feel.
yeah. I wasn't expecting it. When I looked at it, I'm like, okay, this is going to be miniatures and battling through hell and all of this stuff. But then kind of saw how it played, and it's just kind of moving these tokens to these symbols and earning pretty much victory points
Mhm.
with wooden meeples. And I'm like, oh, this is probably pretty appealing to Zach, is what I was thinking when I was going through it. And it's a very interesting theme to put on it, as you're kind of trying to. I think your family has ties to this hell, and you're trying to be pretty much the best one down there. So you're seeking out sinners and getting them convicted and executed, and guiding them towards their right place in these rings of hell where they belong.
Yes,
And that's an interesting theme for just a Euro game, mechanic
yeah,
wise.
yeah. That's kind of what I thought. Yeah, I for some reason it looked like that. The cover looks really awesome, so that kind of pulled
Yeah,
me in, and then all the kind of components that I've seen look really cool. But yeah, the theme, I'm like, I mean, it's definitely different
yeah,
than that, but I can't quite figure out exactly how I feel about it.
yeah.
If it's one of my favorite theme, probably not my favorite,
Yeah, yeah.
but
I
I
would
mean,
say so.
it's yeah. So yeah, I think in this one, like you said, so there's the different layers of hell, and there's different meeple colors that kind of have to get to. You're trying to get to those different layers. So then you can, I think each of the spots. I don't know if there's a thing of the kind of the board where they're kind of stringing to each other a little bit and going down. So yeah, each of those spots can kind of hold one of those meeples, and they each have action types on them. And I think depending on those top four or those areas up on the board, like
Yep.
the 8 areas, there'll be different actions that'll change each game. So it'll play a little bit differently, I think. You'll be able to land on those to trigger a certain action of that type.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then yeah, you're if you're
Oh,
the one that gets a certain color to a certain place, to the place it's supposed to be, then you'll get some points, and you can kind of chain through other workers,
oh,
so you
yep,
can like
yep.
hop over them. So I thought that kind of was pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, that
And
looked pretty
obviously, the
cool. I was
lower
like,
down, the more victory points and stuff.
yeah,
But
yeah. Yeah, that looked like a cool little mini game within the game.
mhm. And then there's kind of these monsters that can be on the board, and they can kind of do special things with those. Like I think there's like a Medusa one that can like freeze them in place, and it's not really a meeple there anymore. It's just kind of a stone type thing or something, like a blocking space or something. And then I think, so I watched a little bit of the Dice Tower one. I think there was that Cerberus or whatever it's supposed to be, the dog, can kind of chase them down in a straight line, and they'll keep going until they hit a spot that they have to stop at or something. So I feel like those could maybe be cool, kind of change it up a little bit. Um, but yeah, see it kind of changed through there, and they're on the one they need to get to, and also are triggering whatever that action is. So
Yeah.
yeah, I thought it looked maybe cool, but I couldn't tell if it was, you know, if it actually play out as interesting as it kind of looked with that. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, other
And the
than kind of,
scoring seemed a little strange.
yeah, I guess what was the scoring? I may have forgotten, or I may have never actually learned it.
So I think there's like these tracks on the bottom that it's like you're trying to get.
Yeah.
It's kind of relating to those different layers of hell, and depending on how many of those spots are full and how far you are on the track, you like multiply it, and there's certain ways to get up on those tracks. And I didn't fully understand when they were doing it, like um, as Dante's going down this side track, which kind of tracks the progress in the game. You check to see like who's leading on a track, and then they get like a little influence token on the side. I wasn't sure if unless you had that you got to score or you didn't get to score. I wasn't really sure how that was working because I was like, then that kind of I don't know felt a little strange, but
Yeah.
I'd maybe have to try this one out. But yeah,
Yeah.
overall, I think it looked like it could be a solid Euro game. It's got a kind of different theme that I don't think I've seen before in a Euro game sense. Um,
We got all the different things. So the levels that you can get are either, so I think this is the most popular one that's everything in there, or at least everything
no,
for a single pledge would be the neoprene mat. I think this is a soundtrack, Sounds of Hell, calming sounds of hell to play the game to. Got some card sleeves, metal coins, bags, and of course the game for 120 euros. And this is going for December 2024. They're aiming for, which I guess
pretty
have they
quick
done a
turnaround.
game? What company is this again? Red
Ooh,
Mojo.
I don't Red Mojo. I don't remember if they have or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be a turnaround. It's around the holidays. I always assume if they have like a December date, I'm
Yeah.
assuming holiday shipping is gonna be crazy, and that probably won't really realistically
It'll
get
be,
there until
and then
January, February. But then it comes to the New Year or the
yeah,
New Year's,
Chinese New Year, and then
so
it's so then
it
you're
all
looking at
depends.
April, May. But
Right.
uh, yeah, Deluxe is just base edition, 79 euros, which I think that's probably what I'd go in on. As much as the metal coins would be awesome, I think that's a pretty good increase there. I'll have to
Hmm.
check the just plain add-ons section, and then without the neoprene mat will be 98 euros. Uh,
Yeah, we don't really keep neoprene
Vegetables,
mats, so that one
yeah,
isn't really that appealing to us.
so it's just 26. Yeah, it's quite expensive for metal coins for a game we wouldn't know. We're probably not getting the game anyway.
Right.
But I'd probably just go base. But I think most people have gone at the highest pledge. So,
Yeah.
but
I mean, it makes
yeah,
sense. I'm
if
hoping
it was
that
a game I was super interested in, then I'd probably be willing. It's just as of right now, not
yeah.
overly.
Yeah, I'm hoping that this one will come to retail. I guess I didn't look to or didn't see anything on there that for sure said, but yeah, if they're partnering with some of these companies, I know they have had games come to retail. So I would think if this one's well received, it will.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
at that point, can probably get it for a little bit cheaper because usually what what ends up getting you seems like the
yeah,
shipping. You hope to maybe be able to get it cheaper without shipping,
yeah.
possibly at a later date. Or
Yep.
I do.
Yeah. And on to Philharmonix Space Orchestra Management Board Game. They cut that little subtitle out of the cover here. Couldn't fit all
Luckily.
that on the board. But yeah, this you are managing an orchestra throughout the galaxy, throughout space. pretty cool theme. I like it. I
Yeah.
enjoy it. It's different. Doesn't mean the game's going to be different, but at least the theme, which for not actually being that big of a theme person, I do like them to be unique, at least just something different, even if it is just maybe based on a certain animal that really isn't covered that much, like I don't know, an otter game or something. I feel like otters are in a lot of games. That was a terrible one. They're on like half of the animal game covers, so that was a
Right.
terrible one to say. But I can't even think of the rare animals. That's how hard it is to find. This is 13. I guess I don't know. Do we look at the stats of this?
Oh yeah.
There's 255,000, 2,400 backers, and 4
Yeah,
days
doing pretty
left.
well.
And 1,300 backers. This keeps popping up here. I hate that as I was kind of going through these. You hover
Yeah, I
on
don't
those
know.
sections. I don't know if they just
They must have
updated it.
changed something because yeah, I had the same thing
Bugs
happen.
me. I'm like, this is gonna bug me in this video when we're filming. So change it, Kickstarter. 109,000, 1,300 backers. Also 4 days to go. And this one looked pretty cool component wise, very
Yeah.
colorful. I love the kind of stands you have here with the orchestra, and you slot in the different people, and you can upgrade their abilities as you go and flip them around. It didn't. It looked like a pretty maybe basic, or not basic. I don't mean any insult when I say basic, but I obviously didn't go too into the gameplay, but I don't remember seeing anything that just completely stood out. But I did also
Right.
look at like 12 of them today, so they might all mix together. So
Yeah, I think it was kind of mostly just a normal worker placement style game. Um, yeah, it's some of the I think maybe when you were putting your music together might have been a little bit more interesting in using the people. For some reason, I thought this game had like kickstarted a while ago. I feel like I've seen this one around for a while. Um, but yeah, I think this looks like a pretty decent production. Looks interesting, but yeah, I think this is kind of another one in the same category as Inferno, where I would like to maybe just see it released and then maybe potentially get it at a later date. Just because I wasn't sure that there was anything in here that I was thinking, yeah, looked totally fresh and completely new, which is harder and harder to do these days. And then yeah, just the fact that um, even like this standard and maybe it will be that much after the fact, but $80 for the standard and $100 for the um, deluxe
yeah, that
has
just
like it just they're getting so spendy now, and I
80,
don't know.
$80, 80
And
bucks. That feels like a
it's not
lot
its fault.
for the stand. Yeah, yeah, that's true, but it does feel like a lot. So hard to get into a question mark, a new game, if it is that high of an entry price. But that is just how things are nowadays. I like that they laid this out side by side, the
I
differences.
do like
Because
when
sometimes they
companies
just
do that.
have, here's all the stuff here, and this version, this version. Sometimes it's not very clear. I like this, just shows it straight up,
Hmm.
standard, deluxe. Uh, and ooh, I really like those acrylic. I really like those
Those do look cool.
coins. Uh, but yeah, this look like pretty good components for deluxe. I don't know. They do look pretty cool. I don't know if it's worth all the extra money.
I mean, if I suppose if you're already going in eighty
Yeah,
dollars
yeah.
and you think those upgrades look worth it for 20
I
extra,
guess if you're already in,
probably is.
it's just $20 difference. So
Yeah.
it's
I
a
think that's the tough part.
good amount
Is
of
they
money.
put it at the point where you already
If
got
it's
so
like,
much invested that it's like, well, at
yeah,
that point, I might as well just do the rest.
if it was 60 to 100, then it's like, maybe hold back. But
Right.
it's like, you're almost there.
Right.
But yeah, I did like the action selection here where you kind of randomize the kind of numbers. There must be like 6 actions,
Mm.
and you have little number tokens corresponding 1 through 6, and you randomize them through there and put one on each spot, and that is the cost, your action cost, which you kind of have a tracker on your board. They can upgrade and get more kind of action points, but the number that's at the action is the amount that you have to spend to activate it, and you can activate one of the levels up to that level. So here you'd have to spend 4 action points, and you could activate either the first, second, third, or fourth, then a section of that action, which I didn't actually look to see which you would prefer. These actually look pretty mixed in their benefits. So this is like a 5 and a 1, 2 and a 1, 6 and a 2. So I don't know what they mean, or if they do get better, if you're always going to want to do the fourth. If they say you could do a lesser one, I assume there might be a time when you do want to do that, but I thought that was pretty unique. It could be maybe too random, where it's like, I just want to do the level 1 of this, and now I got to pay 5 action points. That might not feel great, but
Right.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
so I guess that stood out a little bit to me
Yeah.
from it. And I do like this gear that fits right into that gear lock. I am a shallow gamer. That is one of the things that hooked me most on my take my money journey this week.
Yeah, I did see that. Thought that did come together nicely.
Shipping May 2025. So see, they did the same thought process that we did. They were initially thinking December, then they're like, well, then holidays, it's going to be January, February, New Year, probably April, May. Just put May down there. So they thought it through.
They did.
Yeah, they interested to see what people say. Where is the shipping here?
Yeah.
What's that going to be? $20 about, at least, or more.
Yeah, pretty typical. But yeah, depending on where you live.
Yeah.
Overall, that's another one. I think these first two I've been interested in. So
yeah. And freaking Kickstarter. Boardquest, Tales of Liria. So this one I also has as a board game version. They're also releasing a video game or PC game version as well that you can get. So as 5 days ago, 214 backers, 20,000, and I watched a little bit of playthrough. I think the designer was playing on the app, and I was like, oh, this looks. Because initially they're talking how easy it is to get into, easy to play, hard to master. And I'm watching that, and I'm like, this is way too much. I think the computer's managing so many things here. I have no clue what's going on. So I had to watch kind of a playthrough in person. And so I've done way too much homework on this, and I still probably am going to be terrible at explaining it. But it kind of made me think initially when I started reading of Memoir 44. You kind of go out on the board, and it can be kind of a dueling game, and you try to either control these forts. I think this fort, that's a fort, that's a fort. Kind of control either 5 forts or eliminate your opponent's leader. Is how it works. And throughout the game, you have an income of money, and you can use that money to upgrade your characters. You can summon more sidekicks to your leader, which have different stats for what it takes for them to deliver a hit, their health points, different things like that. And you can upgrade it. You can gain a ton of XP. It goes to like 600 on this track, but I assume they just go in intervals of like 10 and stuff throughout the game. So it's pretty much maybe just a track to 100, but it's just higher numbers that you're getting. But it looked pretty cool. It looked pretty straightforward when he was playing it. But again, they probably know the game a lot better than I would the first time playing. So it looks easier. I'm like, oh yeah, I can jump right into that. Just summon this and attack this, move and attack that. And probably a little more going on than it seems, but it seemed actually pretty straightforward in that playthrough.
Yeah, I didn't look too much into this one. I think it looks fine enough. Looks whatever, but I just don't know that this would be quite my style of game, just from kind of the initial looks of some of the stuff. But it could be good if you like those kind. I think the fact that I saw too that it was, like you said, they have like a option for kind of a video game or whatever.
Yeah.
That kind of made me think, so does it actually play better as a video game than actual game,
Yeah,
or board
that
game,
is what I was
tabletop
thinking
game?
as well.
Just because, yeah, like you said, sometimes with certain things, it's just I know that a lot of it seems like a lot of companies will try to take a video game and make it into a board game.
Yeah.
And there's just something about video games that can make it a lot easier to manage certain things than you could ever do on a board game without making it super complicated or, a lot of work trying to just manage that part and not manage or not be having just a ton of fun or something.
Yeah, because it is a lot easier on the video game. Just to be like point, click, send, and attack. It just handles the stats, it handles the advantages, disadvantages, terrain, all of that
Mhm.
stuff very easily. So it might be better, and I don't know what came first in the designer's mind, whether they wanted to do
Yeah.
that or they wanted to do the board game first. I'm not sure, but yeah, hopefully they're both pretty good. I assume they
Yeah.
would be. I mean, it's just how you prefer to play your games. I would probably still prefer board game just because that's what I'm used to. I haven't played a lot of these. You grew up on RuneScape, so this is probably a lot more familiar and maybe welcoming for this kind of thing than you. I'm not playing many. That's the game that I compare it to, where it's probably not close at all. I just think of any times you'd be fighting something, you'd point, click. I'm like, oh, it's the same thing. But
Yeah.
probably very, very different.
A little
So
different, but I can see it.
pledge levels, so you can get the game for $17. You can get the a miniatures pack of just the miniatures for the game for $50. You can get the standard edition with standees here for $71. A fun, so the standard edition and the game, video game for $82. And the premium edition with the miniatures, just the board game with the miniatures, $93. So still under $100. Pretty
Yeah.
good. And then the premium with the video game for $104. Or else you can be a retailer. So that's not that bad, I don't think. Going for November, which, like we said, no way they're going to hit that. That is definitely going to be April, May of next year.
All of these games so far are delivering in April, May of next year. You know it because almost all these ones that I'm waiting for coming here in late March, early April. Almost all of them. There are some. Some are actually a little early.
Yeah,
Shout out Garfield Games.
Yeah, shout out to Garfield.
That one might be coming a little early. I don't think that
you
one's
don't
coming,
complain.
but
You have discovered, backed, and had delivered about 20 projects, maybe 30, in the time I've waited for Monumental. So,
Monumental was just they had a few Chinese New Year's sneak up on them.
just a few. Like the first one I ever backed, and I'm like, oh, it's a reprint. It'll be safe. Nope. Ace of Aces.
Nothing's ever a sure thing, you guys.
No. Although this one's an existing game. It's been around since the 80s, apparently. Sounds like. Ace of Aces Powerhouse Series Deluxe Edition. That's just a bunch of words thrown together that sound fantastic. So this one is pretty much a dogfight. It's a very unique game.
It is very unique. It is very unique. When I saw this on Board Game Geek, I didn't know what to think.
I didn't know what you were gonna. I didn't know if you'd even look at it because I'm like, oh, it probably just looks like a war game, something we're not interested in. Then I started looking at it, and I'm like, I hope he hasn't looked at it because I really want to show this to him because it's very unique and cool. I think
it is unique.
It says 150,000, 2,500 backers, 5 days to go.
It's great. Is that the most so far for backers wise?
What did this have? Yeah, it's the most. I think. Yeah, that would be the most. So that is pretty crazy. It might be the most. No, I don't think it's going to be. I forget what all is in here, but it might be the most of this week, which is crazy because it's just 2 books. 2 books in there. One's one plane, one's the other. the Germans, the Allies, and the way it works, you both start on page 170 or something, I think it is, of this book, and it kind of shows you your point of view from your plane and your sight of the other plane. So you can see in this picture here, you're kind of looking straight. They're pretty much right ahead of you. And you each decide, let's see, we got to get a picture here. Close-up picture. Somewhere down here. Okay, they don't have it. But it has on the
guys.
bottom. On the bottom is all the different
Some
turns.
maneuvers.
Yeah. So you can go a little slower and turn kind of to the right, the left, or straight, a little faster, and then even faster, left, right, center. And you each choose one of those that you're going to do to try to maneuver into the right thing from that last screenshot that you had. And then you tell, it kind of prompts you with a page to turn to. You tell that page to the other person, and they turn to the page that your turn cited, and you do the same for theirs. And then once you're at that new page that your opponent gave you, then you find the turn, the action that you took on your previous page, and that action that you took will then take you to your next page. So it's just all kinds of math that get you self-working stuff that get you to show where you end up after your two moves, to just simulate actually moving through the air simultaneously, just by flipping through pages of a book. And you try to score hits, and sometimes if you get it just right, you're lined up, and it says you deal a damage or deal 2 damage to the opponent, and I think it goes to 12. It recommends 12 damage, and you win. That just looked really cool. Like, it makes me think of like Turing Machine, where it's just this complicated kind of math behind this game that I can't even begin to understand or really think about the work that went into kind of crafting it and making it work.
Right.
I've heard some people kind of talk about another kind of what it's based on. I think they said it's like based on a hex grid. Like, really is how he kind of imagines it and works it out. I don't know. That's over my head. But it works, and I'm pretty interested in this. Because I'm like, this would just be a great thing to just have and break open every now and then. I don't know.
Yeah. I kind of wonder like how much I would play it, and I don't know that I'd be like taking it out and playing it multiple times in a row type thing. But it was a lot more interesting than I thought. When I saw that it was $2, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be kind of, I don't know. And then I was watching how it was done, and I'm like, that's actually kind of interesting. It's more interesting than I would have thought. So I have some interest in this one as well, but I don't know that it's like really high interest, but it's kind of just a cool thing, like you said, like Turing Machine, where that just happens to work out, or it doesn't happen to work out. They mathematically figure out how to get it to work out, whatever. But it cooler than I would have thought, and if you want some simulator type thing, and I feel like it wouldn't. But they say, is it 20 to 30 minute? I don't think it was a long game. So
not very long.
And I think there were ways to do advanced modes and stuff. And at that point, I was thinking like, if it was just these advanced modes, I don't think I would.
The advanced
probably do it.
The advanced
modes, like, you're going higher, you're going lower, and some of like,
so many different things, and you can choose like types of aircraft, like specific models that have a certain height that they can go to limit, and the amount of ammo, and aiming for certain parts of the plane. So if you want to get really complicated in there, you can.
You can.
You want to try that, but just the base game, I think it's something that you just have it on the coffee table. You're like, people who've never played games, let's try this. It's got a visual of the plane, so it's very easy. It's like, what do you want to do? Do you want to turn to the right or this or that? I feel like this is going to be, it's going to transcend the just board game sphere. And I think anyone can
that could happen.
Yeah.
This is what Kickstarter was made for.
This is what Kickstarter is made. Get the stamp on there. Yeah.
When was that? This was delivering
Oh, this was delivering
June
June
2025.
2020. That's a
They're giving
long
themselves
way.
another month. But yeah, it seems
That's
like a long time for something that's books, but I don't know.
what
They have to
Kickstarter's
double
all
check their
about.
math.
That's true. They're like, we don't know if this will work or if this is possible to pull off, but we're going to try it. And we've got Everstone. Everstone, another just generic name. They're like, let's throw something here and something here. Everstone.
Exactly.
Discovering Ignis.
They added that
43,000.
little bit at the end to make it a
Yep.
little bit
Yeah.
different.
Yes. About a week left, 790 backers. I don't know much about this one. I didn't look too much into it. I'm like, oh, this looks like every other game I've seen. Beautiful.
It does feel a little generic.
But
I like the look of it. I'm actually
yeah,
surprised it's not doing better because of how
yeah.
it looks. It looks like a
Looks
game
really
that typically does better
I was
than
thinking like
this.
Flamecraft is kind of what it was making me think of.
Yeah,
Kind of with the
it does kind of have
markets
that
and
look.
just the really adorable, maybe not adorable. I don't know if there's really any critters in there, but just really beautiful, colorful artwork.
Yeah, I think you're kind of fulfilling things to kind of better your board and your actions pretty much. You're getting these gems and turning them in for different things, just kind of going in and out. Seemed like one that could, once you know how to play it, I'm sure you can, you know, get a little bit more and more efficient with it, do better combos and stuff as you're playing it more and more. But yeah, kind of like you said, I don't know. I don't know that. Yeah, I think this one seemed like it was doing anything extremely new and interesting to me either.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, I think overall, a lot of the stuff on it looked relatively nice, and
yeah.
I think it looks like it should work as a game and be a fun experience. And I think is this the one that was just the one pledge level? One of them that was
Yeah,
just one,
so just the one of
which I
59
do
bucks.
like.
Yeah, I like that where it's not, oh, look at all these things. You just
Right,
get the game at its uh, best form, hopefully best form. It's just all built in there.
right, and yeah, still after shipping is about $80, which the 60 wasn't bad, and then it gets to 80, and I think for the game that just feels like a little bit more than I'd like to pay. But it's still, I think they still had some kind of deluxeified feeling components that some
Yeah,
Kickstarters would have had one version without. I think they had maybe some screen printed
yeah, screen
things
printed.
and stuff, and like some would have charged 20 extra
Be like, yeah,
for
upgrade this
something.
from
Yeah.
discs to printed
So I
discs,
like that it's
to
just
gems.
one thing. It's pretty good quality, it looks like, and yeah, I do like
Yeah,
that part. So
yeah,
January 2025, that's going to be a sneaky time. I'm going to sneak that
yeah,
baby in there before
yeah.
the Chinese New Year.
They're gonna start fulfillment here in November 2024. Sneak it in there right before the new year. We can hope.
Yeah,
We
it looks
can
like a
hope.
lot of the big YouTubers have covered it, so uh,
Where are
check
we?
those ones out.
Oh, jeez.
They
We're
didn't
covering it
ask
right
us.
here.
Yeah, just imagine if we had the game.
Yeah,
Then I'm sure we would have a lot more good stuff to say about it,
yeah,
maybe, because we'd know it. But yeah,
yes, we would know.
it
Or we
looks
just,
good, but
or we'd have terrible, terrible things to say. That's the risk. That's the risk.
we just tell it how it is.
On to Ascending Empires, Zenith Edition. Which all you got to know here is Stephen Bonacore is on the team, so this is an instant back from me, and I assume you as
And
well.
also Zev,
And Zev,
who
yes.
was Z-Man Games, was with Z-Man, or did
Oh, is
Z-Man
he the
Games.
Z and Z Man?
Yes, and then I think he was. I don't know if Asmodee bought Z-Man Games. I think he was working. Whoever bought Z-Man Games, he was working for them until I think recently. And
Yeah.
yeah, then I think it's got Tim that runs Dice Tower West and
Oh yeah, I
Meepleville
did see
down
Tim.
there, and other people too. So just got the whole team.
The whole team, an amazing team of people coming together to create the greatest game ever made. Pretty
Yes,
much. Experience a fast 4X sci-fi adventure. 42,451 backers. A week to go. It says Zenith Edition. Zenith. but this is the only edition. This is a new game, correct?
No, it is.
It is not.
Bringing back an old game or a game that was already. I had to go look. I did not know that until I just went and looked before we started this because I'm like, I don't know why they'd call it that if there's only one edition. So this
that's why I was
be
confused because it didn't have like add-ons of anything old. So is this like a really old game or decent?
I don't think it was that old, but I think it was like rated like a 7.2 or 3 on Board Game Geek, the original. I guess now I don't remember the year, but yeah, I don't think it was old. But yeah, so that's why it's Play to Z, because I think it's playing on Zev's name, but
I see.
Yeah, so I think they're bringing this one back, and yeah, I don't know anything about the original. Looks like it was at least somewhat well received.
Yeah.
But this is a flicking 4X game.
Okay, so it is flicking. It looked like it might be flicking, but I didn't do much research on this one. I must have barely even read it if I don't know it's flicking, but I was like, that looks like flicking.
It is a flicking 4X game. Which, yeah, first when I looked at it, I was like, oh, I don't know what this really is. And I think even still, I might kind of be like, I don't know that it looks that exciting to me personally, but the flicking seems interesting. I don't know that. So yeah,
like it was too perfect. I thought, oh, what decides how you can move this? I didn't know you're actually literally flipping it like that, flicking it like that.
Yeah. So you're flicking that. So that is an interesting thing, I will say. But at the same time, I know how I flicked when I was recently at 2D Con Unplugged in Crokinole, and that was not good. So who knows if I'd even get anything accomplished in this game. But yeah, and then you're kind of flipping these, you're kind of exploring these new things as you get into their atmosphere or whatever, and expanding, exterminate, doing all that kind of 4X stuff, which is interesting. I do like that it's kind of that a flicking game versus I think a lot of 4X games are obviously just kind of more heavy strategy style games, and sometimes you'll have like cards and stuff that give you certain benefits and stuff to use certain, I don't know, and maybe this I didn't look at it too much more. Maybe there are those types of things in this one too, but I just saw the flicking, and that's kind of what I think is the whole game. You flick and go into those things, flip them over, get probably something, and kind of colonize those places.
Yeah, I think that is the draw of the game. Now that I do know that is what it is, so when I see this, tech trees and stuff, I'm like, how can you tech tree your finger? This makes no sense. I just gotta flick it. You flick it better than others.
I don't get any better at flicking, unfortunately.
Dang it.
But yeah, so I'm surprised this one's not doing a little bit better with the people that are involved in it. But it is a little pricier. It does only have this one also only has one version that you're buying, which is also another nice thing. You're not having to decide between multiple versions. But it is $110, and then I'm guessing it's another 20 to 30 of shipping. So you're getting almost into the 150 range.
Yeah,
some of these bigger space 4X games do get pricey anyway, so it's not like it's the first game to be that way.
But it's not like most of them. It is a little different. It's not a ton of miniatures and things like, although it does have a good amount of miniatures, or it has some tokens that does it?
Yeah, I think there's some that you kind of put on
some tokens,
those planets and stuff. But yeah, nothing that I think is like you see some of these big campaigns that have tons of huge miniatures and stuff, really detailed ones. This one kind of just, I mean, it's good stuff, but at the same time, it's kind of like, I mean, it doesn't.
It's not aiming
jump
to
out
be
to me as much.
The most epic table presence. Need 3 tables to even hold it, type of thing. Like a lot of them.
Which makes me think that, like in my head, I think then that it should be kind of a little bit cheaper than some of those games, but it's kind of right there. And I don't know what it is about it. Like,
although it's right there with their games as cardboard versions. Their cardboard versions are usually this price. This has got this deluxe version at their floor.
True. But it's true. But I was thinking, so this is supposed to be kind of a quicker 4X game, which obviously makes me immediately think of the other quick 4X game, Last Light, from Roy. Roy Kennedy
Monaco's
at the
best
Dice Tower.
friend, top 3 best
And
friends.
and I'm just kind of like, at the end of the day, both of them I'm like, how do we have all these great, great looking games out there these days? And for some reason, they're fine, but I haven't been a huge fan of the look of either of them. Like, I'm not like, neither one of them has completely sold me on, oh, yeah, I need this game.
Yeah, I
I've heard a lot of great
guess.
things about Roy's game, but at the end of the day, I'm like, I don't know that I love the look of it. I don't know. Maybe I'd have to see. I don't think I've seen it in person. Maybe if I saw it in
Yeah.
person, I'd think differently.
Yeah, I
But
think it's mostly the board that gets you for that one, just kind of being pretty plain black with
yeah,
things like that, or I don't know. Yeah. Most of the components look good here. It does, I don't know, it doesn't even look like a game on the table. I mean, it looks like some sort of activity or game.
looks like something's happening.
Something's happening.
This is
Someone
what my
grabbed
normal
something.
dining room table looks like. So I don't know what they're trying to pull off here.
I'd be like, what's this? Snack? No, that's a game. But yeah, it is it is a different look. Uh, I don't mind it. Uh,
Yeah.
it's
I
but
just
yeah, I
think
don't
for
know.
the
It's
price
not
point,
like
it doesn't excite me.
yeah, yeah. But
But
it's
could be great. It
good.
sounds like though that they've made some changes or significant changes to
Uh,
the original. So
yeah,
I don't
look,
know if
that
it'd be for
was
better or worse.
2011. So that's quite a ways away. That is
Wait, what did you
half
say?
of 2011. The other one, the first one was.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah, that's
that's half of my
over 10
life
years.
back, pretty much.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
This one's
yeah,
coming October 24, so it should be a quick turnaround. There's a lot of people that have been in the industry that are involved, so you
yeah.
think that that would be a true timeline?
Tim's
But
keeping that library organized. He can keep this organized, running
exactly,
smoothly.
exactly.
Age of Eon. I think they produced 2 words. It should have been Eon or whatever, something Eon. It's like a time type thingy. Age as
Mhm.
well. I think they got the wrong words. They did. They were looking for like stone or something, like Age of Stone. They just did Eon or Eon of Stone, but they didn't actually produce the object for that title. But it works. Age of Eon. Strategic battle card game of ancient powers. This is a card game, and it's got 83 backers, 10 days to go, $7,700, and it looked a lot smaller than most of the games that we see here.
Yep.
And it actually reminded me, obviously, I don't know how this plays very well, but it reminded me of Marvel Snap. I don't think you've played it. I played it a little bit
I have
on the
not.
app, or you have?
I have not played it.
Have not. Just the way it kind of worked, kind of adding these cards. I don't know if you're trying to win these 3 locations in the middle.
Yeah, so
That's
you
like
are. You're
perceived.
battling for those 3 locations. I think you get 7 cards from a 10 card deck that each of you have. That's the same deck. And
Okay.
you're putting them into locations, and kind of the main thing that's happening is cards are being flipped with some of the powers
Oh,
on certain cards. So, like, some of the lower valued cards will help you flip over either your own card, flip it back over to
yeah.
the front side, or flip over an opponent's. And then you're trying to compete in those locations. Uh, so
Mhm.
yeah, I think it's just kind of unique in that way. And then I think you both have like a leader that'll kind of have a special ability, and you can see their power up in the top left there. And once you reach that point, then you can use their ability
Oh, yep. Yep.
to try to do that.
Yeah, that actually does seem a little similar because Marvel Snap, you got the 3 locations. I don't know. So you're playing to the specific location. It sounded like
You have
for
to
that
match.
the
Yeah, so
kind
like
of
right there's magic
color.
or the blade. You have to have your cards have a specific one they can be laid to. Outside of,
Okay.
I think, the 1 and 10, uh,
Okay.
they can be played to either.
Okay.
So
Yeah, so it's pretty similar. You're playing at 3 locations, and you have kind of power to the cards, and kind of not flipping cards, but maybe deactivating or affecting other cards or
mm,
boosting them. in that one. So for me, I'd just stick with the app that I have in that case, since it's obviously not knowing it too well, similar enough to me to prevent myself from going and buying a new game.
Right.
But price-wise, this actually isn't that bad. It's $30
No.
for the standard edition, which being cards, I think that's probably all you need. Maybe add on some nice things like foil cards or something like that, but
Yeah.
just extra editions with, I guess, what they have here? Play mats, card sleeves, expansion, which probably, if it adds content, I guess, then I'm fine adding that in there. Promo cards and things like that. So that'll bring it up to $80, which starts to get a little much.
Pretty steep for what
me.
the game is. I mean, it's not. Yeah. Like you said, it's mainly just a card game. It seems like so. You're talking $80 for just a card game. That's not like I feel like there's even a lot of games where already card games out there that are really cheap that you're just competing for these middle zones in different ways. So I think there's already a lot of those out there right now. And I didn't feel like, oh, this one felt so different that like
Yeah.
it tops all those easily or anything. Not that it's a bad game, but I don't know. I don't know that I would spend $80 on it personally, but I think the 30 is fair. Still getting up there maybe, but it looks like it pays shipping as well. So then it's getting up there. Games in general are getting more expensive, but
then
it gets a little tougher for me when it's kind of a smaller box card game. So they start getting kind of the Kickstarter prices, but I'm glad they're able to put this out to have people potentially play the game. I think it probably is going to be a solid game, especially if it is similar to Marvel Snap. I know a lot of people do like that or did like it. I don't know if it's still hot anymore or as hot as it once was, but yeah, I think if it's anything like that, people probably would like it. It's a matter of whether or not they're willing to pay money for it. And
I can mark my words. This is Marvel Snap right here. Everyone buy it.
oh boy. Well, someone's marking someone's words here because Tom Vassell is selling out on this one. I think the Dice Tower had Tom Vassell. Well, the Dice Tower didn't have Tom Vassell do a video. The Dice Tower demanded he make a video.
It's
a living thing.
Goes to the ancient Dice Tower in his office, just sitting there, a monolith, and it tells him, it speaks to him. Only he can hear it. Commands him to do things.
Exactly. But yes, if you don't watch the Dice Tower, Tom Vassell, I think it's his number one. Is it his number one game of all time?
I hadn't seen the list this year, but I saw a quote here.
It's either one or two.
Number one. And I didn't know, it didn't say if it was of all time or if it was of the year, but I figured it's probably his number one of all time.
That's right.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. So it's the Ready, Set, Bet, which is already a game you can go out and get. And it is the High Roller Edition. So it's bigger, grander than the game that's already available. It's 200. It's made 207,000 so far. 2,500 backers. About a week to go. We have this. I have this one. I have not had a chance to play it yet. I think it probably is a fun game. And if this is your favorite game of all time, it looks like you can get some really cool dice. You can get some of the horses named. Everything's a little bit bigger. They must be making this out of Texas,
bigger board,
I would think. So
neoprene board, yes, making it in Texas, and poker chips. And I like this game. I think it's more fitting for what this game has become. Just kind of everybody gather around. Let's special end of the night activity. And I think this kind of has like a handle, like a suitcase. You just carry it around, open it up. It just feels like a very special event now, I think, with this new packaging. I think that's more fitting than just the square box that it had previously.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know. Like, obviously, I have not played it yet, so maybe I would feel differently once I played it. If yeah, it's probably going to be one that I'd play with family members and stuff. So based on reactions and stuff from that, maybe I'd feel differently and be like, okay, yeah, getting a bigger version of this isn't the worst idea, but I have a hard time saying that unless you really love this game, that you should go in and get this for $90 plus. I guess I don't remember if it had shipping. I'm assuming it has shipping. So you're paying almost $100 for this, and this is a party style game. I think that's
Yeah.
how I would classify it. And
I mean, it's almost
$100, like it's the closest thing I can think of as a party style game that's like over $100, like Crokinole. But
um,
that's almost like you're getting a board that's, I don't know, it's a different feel about it. But this one could be kind of your almost a family heirloom game, I guess, too. Similar, it
yeah,
could be.
yeah,
If your family really likes kind of, yeah, this sort of gambling or horse racing feel,
uh,
I guess
yeah,
if you're really into it, maybe.
yeah. I think so, but yeah, it just feels like an activity. Like I don't even need the betting. I just have more fun just watching the horses, seeing the story develop of the comebacks and the chokes. I I don't know. I don't know if I just have a hard time because it's like really fast paced. I don't know if that would work for me to also then implement a game into that. It might be too chaotic, possibly. Then I don't know who would run it for us, or if we would use the app. And if the app doesn't have Tom Vassell voicing, then I mean, what's even the point? Because this is his baby. He didn't design it or
I,
anything that I know of, but this is his baby.
they honestly, maybe they did, and I didn't. I didn't read everything in here, but maybe they did. But they should. They should have got him to be announced to have a voice thing in an app for
They
this
got
one.
it. I mean, if
That's what
they
they
had to
should do.
spend the next year perfecting that to get it seamless and smooth so that he can narrate any combination, any outcome of anything, it seems very hard to do, but they got to do it. But I love these names. This is fantastic. Just a name for each horse. 23 skidoo for sure. 5 o'clock somewhere. 6 appeal. Lucky 7. The Ocho. 9 lives. Perfect 10. And 11 and 12 is late breakfast. I just love these names for the horses.
That's fair.
That is convincing me.
You could
I
call
guess
the horses that. You just have to remember it in your
that's
head.
the stupidest reason to actually be convinced to buy this, but it's by God, it's working on me. It is working.
Sell the other edition that we have that we haven't played.
We might have to. Yeah, I still. I mean, now that they're big, chunky horses, it's like you want to pick them up and play with them, but also I feel like it's still so hard. You have them all lined up next to each other to just move one without budging another. I don't know if it's slotted. I don't think the board becomes slotted or dual layered in any way that I
I
saw.
don't think so.
And I'm like, I just wish they were on like a track. Like I've seen ones of different games where it's kind of the same thing, but they're like slotted into kind of like a rail type thing, and you slide them. I get you can't take the components out and play with them. Then maybe you could have them removable, but I just feel like that would maybe help because it can be very fast paced and get a little wild at times, where possibly
Mm-hmm.
something could get budged. But obviously, we've never played it. We've been near it as it was being played many times.
Because
But
we're trying to play Shakespeare, for goodness sake. And Tom Vassell yodeling, yelling out loud. Can
they call it
barely hear
spontaneous
ourselves.
yodeling, pouring on the box. Yeah, shipping would be not too
$13
high,
shipping.
$13.
But
But
yeah,
yeah,
getting
it gets to be a lot. Oh, like up to $100. That's a lot for what it is. But I mean, for what it is, this is gonna have
March
people.
2025.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be a lot of people's favorite game. Even if they don't play any games other than this, this is just one of those things. I think so.
Yeah.
Like you said, kind of like a family, kind of passed down for thousands of years. Their copies of Ready Set Bet with the app of a long gone Tom Vassell voicing over these things.
And we'll even have
Millennium
ours signed by him. This was the great Tom Vassell, kids. This is why your great grandpop was into board gaming in the first place. This guy right here.
Oh, the impact. I'd like to see the horses in this theme racing around. Thunder Road.
We may have lied then about that one having one earlier having the most backers.
Yeah, it says a little more. A little more. How much did Ready Set? It did 25 as well. Oh, that's very close. What was the one with a lot? This one? 25. 47. Oh, it's 17 back. Ready Set Bet needs 17 more backers to catch an ace of aces. But this has more than both those combined.
I don't think they'll be catching this one. 1.2 million and 9,300 backers over a week to go.
10 days to go still.
Restoration Games is, I have to say, they're killing it recently, I think. Wow.
They know what
they've kind of just killed it every game they've had. I don't know if they've had a bad.
They'll do any type of game, just as long as there was something related to it in the past. They'll bring it back and make it amazing, and just amazingly successful too. Whether you like them or not, you aren't a fan of Return to Dark Tower, but
no, not
for what it is.
But I know a lot of people liked it.
I really like it. I love it and love what it does. And all their games so far have been pretty approachable too. Like they're adding real game to these old games, but they're not totally like pushing away the fans of the originals because they are still pretty approachable. It's just a little bit more. I don't know. I assume Thunder Road must exist. I don't know anything about whatever it was originally.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know the base game. We've played the base game. I've had my eye on the expansions for a while before we even got it. And I'm glad that I like the base game quite a bit. I don't know. I don't think Mac, I don't think she hates it. I don't think she's the biggest fan.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure your thoughts exactly on it. I forget.
Yeah, I definitely liked it more the second time we played it, but yeah, it's still, I don't know what I would say about it. It's kind of right in the middle. Like if someone wanted to play it, I'm definitely up for playing it because it's not like a long game or anything. And it's just kind of craziness. Yeah, you could actually probably make the game go shorter by being crazier. The crazier you are, probably the shorter you could make the game. So
I would say all of these little videos here are accurate representations of the game.
Exactly.
But yeah, this one you're kind of entering into an arena. They've got hex spaces on here now. And then they have like the normal boards leading into it. I'm like, how do the hex spaces even connect to the regular? How did they do this?
Fast and Furious.
Yeah, pretty much. But I think you're going into, instead of just racing to the end and having Fast and Furious chaos, you are going into this arena and I think trying to fulfill certain tricks or things to do. I think based on whoever this Tina is, must be hosting. You want to impress her and do all these crazy things, bump people around, find guns, shoot people, explosions,
and get ads of fifth player,
ramps, all kinds of things. It's chaos. It's very cinematic. It's not a Euro game in any way. It is Ameritrash, whatever. This is like fully that, 100%. Although there's dice worker placement. So this is a worker placement game, Zach.
Yeah, but there's not really too much manipulation of the dice.
No.
So if you kind of roll not exactly what you want to, there are bad rolls, but it is what it is. Yeah, you go into it knowing that. You
got to play the expansion, Zach. And
yeah, I have heard it does add more to it, but
yeah.
I think this is a good one for higher player counts and stuff. Yeah. So
I've even enjoyed
a lot of content.
The 2-player count that we did have, because I was worried if it would be the chaos that I was looking forward to at 2-player, and maybe we got lucky, but and I was lucky that it wasn't me, but you had just an epic, horrible turn, spinning around in some oil, running into something, shrapnel shooting around, hitting you again, and exploding you off the map, kind of stuff. And I'm like, that worked out absolutely perfect to be just horrible to you, but very fun to watch for me. So even in 2 players, if you want that cinematic, Fast and Furious, Mad Max chaos, from my experience, it did deliver that.
Yeah, I would agree.
But yeah, so so if you want everything that existed previously, I guess yeah. So here you could get Maximum Chrome, which is everything there, for $160, which is a game with 4 expansions. Components are pretty good, I would say. It's toys, it's little cars and helicopters and awesome custom dice.
It's probably a little pricey.
Yeah, but that has 4 expansions.
Yeah,
I think also have miniatures, characters, more boards, but that is a little expensive. Just base game is $60 if you want to add that on, which I'd say that's probably good for nowadays what games cost. Big Rig adds
I guess I don't know if it's available right now. You could definitely go check it out. If you're just looking for the base game, I would probably recommend going and seeing if Miniature Market or Game Nerds or even Amazon have it. They might have it for cheaper than that, especially if you get free shipping for any of those.
Yeah. Got the Big Rig and Final Five, so this adds 2 new players, but that's $40 to add on. That seems like a lot for just 2 different players, which I guess probably work differently because this is 3 connected cars. This is 5 little bikes.
Was this the one people recommend? No. What's the expansion?
Then this $40 for different roads, fire effects. So I guess it's more gameplay stuff. I'm much more interested in this than just new character or whatever. That's maybe slightly different. And then Chop Shop, I think I heard most about this or would be most interested in because this features different leaders for your crew and giving you special, very or unique effects that you have that others don't, and player powers. And that actually is the cheapest one. That's good to hear on $25. So I think that's what I'd be most interested in addition to the new expansion with the kind of arena play.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see how that kind of works. And maybe this means they're going to make big arenas for our unmatched battle royal.
Ooh, I want to see
that we eventually do.
We've tested it out a little bit. They can ask us anytime how they want a Royal Rumble type edition. We have done massive play testing for that. One attempt that went like 8 hours, pretty much.
For 10 characters.
Yeah, we need to tweak it a little bit. But yeah, just the new show, $45, which is not that bad. Looks like it adds a good amount of new gameplay. Shipping is going to be pretty expensive. $25 minimum for the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely, I would suggest if you want to see for sure if you think you'll be interested in the game, maybe try to find the base game elsewhere.
Yeah.
First, and then kind of see from there. And I don't remember if they typically have late pledges on their games, but hopefully they do.
Sure. It should be available. Hopefully. At some point. And then FLOE, the game we've been, me more than you, dying to see come to fruition after we did the Andrew Bosley artwork series.
Go check that out.
Check it out, artist series. We talked about his artwork and our favorite covers, and this one is right near the top of mine. I think it's pretty high on yours as well. Michaela is a hater, and it's finally released. It's been pictures of even the board and components for like a long time.
Yeah, this is one I've been waiting for quite a while too. I don't know how long. I know they announced it. It's been a while.
And it's still going to be June 2025.
That it releases. But yeah, it's making 433,000, 4,000 backers. So that one also has a few more. It's got about a little over a week to go, and
This,
yeah, I
I,
would, like you said, the June 2025 was disappointing
yeah,
after knowing this has kind of been there or been out there for a while, been talked about a little bit, and well, at least the cover. I don't know if the gameplay
yeah,
had been talked about much, but yeah, it's just kind of like, okay, it's good to know that they're probably taking their time trying to make sure, everything development looks good and stuff is working right. And then, yeah, I don't know, something about it just feels off. I don't know what it is. I love the look of it,
you
but
love the look of it. It feels off. So you're not sold on the game.
I'm not.
I was going through this and I'm like, I feel not, I mean, yeah, I feel disappointed because it's not hitting the approachable type of game that I was looking for. I don't want it to be super simple, but this they kind of talked about it a little being a little sandboxy, and I felt that because there are so many things like to the board that you can do. You have kind of a
Mhm.
village of actions that you're taking. You have kind of resources that you're managing. You're going traveling along a map and either going to the islands or diving in the water for things. And then you also have kind of caves that you're going into, and you can battle monsters. And you're upgrading things on your board. And I'm like, that is just too much for me, and that was disappointing to me. But I thought that that was going to ease worries from you, that you thought maybe this would be too cutesy and too light for you. So I thought you would be more excited about this, and I was going to be less excited after finally seeing gameplay. But it seems like you're not feeling it.
No, I don't know why. It's making me think a little bit. Maybe it's look. It makes me think a little bit of Merchants of the Dark
Yeah,
Road and Endless Winter. Making me think of both of them, and both of those were a little bit disappointing to me. And I'm wondering if this one would kind of be the same way or not. I don't know. And it's also making me think a little bit of Merchant's Cove, which,
oh yeah, I don't think it's anything like that.
yeah, I
But
don't.
it's giving you the feel. You can't
It's
deny the
giving me the
feel.
feel of those kind
Yeah,
of three, and it's just kind of like, no, all those have kind of been just like it. There, it's almost like you said. It's almost like it's too much going on, and
yeah,
not really a good focus point of, oh, what's actually the hook here. I'm not really sure. Like
yeah.
it seems
That's
cool at first, but then you actually get to play some of these games, and it's like, it
yeah. I like a
felt like
little more.
everything wasn't like they were all maybe good things, but none of them were like excellent.
Yeah, I feel like it, and it could be, but it's just hard to get
Right.
into because sometimes because it looks like there's a lot, and there's gonna be a lot of maybe little specific rules. That's what worries me. I'm like, are we actually gonna play it enough to really get comfortable with it to find
Hmm.
all those things? If it's not an obvious straight line of what you're doing, because you need like 6 points. You can get like half points here and there throughout the game. It's a race to 6 points. And when I look at the board, I'm like, I have no clue the path to a point. I just, so that's what I felt right away. Obviously, once you play it, you get into it, hopefully it makes more sense. And even if it's sandboxy without really a path, defined
Hmm.
path, that can still work. But it just, yeah, it didn't really hook me on gameplay. I still think it's beautiful. It's
Hmm.
amazing looking, and I still want to get it because of that. What is the price here? So price is $87. Okay, so 71 for this, 87 for that. Who knows what even this is? Where are the pledge levels? Am I even going here? Nope.
I don't know where.
We'll see it. We'll find it. But I mean, reviews have been pretty positive from the ones that I've heard. Shipping is going to be about $20 minimum again.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think it was. I mean, it looks like a good production, which is probably why it's a little bit on the pricier side. But it did still feel a little bit pricey, and felt like kind of one of those things that, again, there's the
Soundtracks, all these games
70.
and their soundtracks.
Yeah, it's like I don't really want a soundtrack. Like,
$70.
quit adding these costs to my pledge levels that I just don't want. Like, I'm glad someone spent time and they put effort into it, and I appreciate the effort, and that's awesome. But it's just not something I want in a pledge level. I think that specifically should just be an add-on type thing.
Yeah.
Unless, maybe at the very end you have an all-in and have all that stuff. Sure, that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know if it needs to be in several pledge levels, personally, but
yeah, 145 for everything. We wouldn't do that, but if you want everything, all the maps, okay, go ahead. 115. It's a bit much. Probably just go for the deluxe with the miniatures. Some miniatures. I think this has even more miniatures with the monsters.
Yeah.
Being $80, not hooking me on gameplay. Pretty disappointed in it. If the reviews are massively, overwhelmingly great, I think we might get it eventually. But it does give me that feel of Merchants of the Dark Road. I think that just burned us a little bit. It's not terrible, but it burned us a little bit, so we're hesitant on this.
Yes. Andrew Bosley and your snowy, wintry artwork in these games that feel like they might do some cool things, and then it just like that's what that I love all the components and stuff too, and it's just like I just need it to come together a little bit better. Maybe I'll do some more looking at this one, but this is hopefully one that'll be available after the fact. And can maybe get it if it's well reviewed.
If anyone wants to donate one of those box covers, I'd love to have it.
Well, I think that's all the projects for this week. Let us know in the comments below what you're most excited about. But otherwise, we hope to see you on the next one. And as always, don't forget to keep on nibbling on our content.